Hey, everybody. Welcome to Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. I am your host, Frank LaRosa, and I am joined here yet again, as always. He's got no place to go. My COO, Dale Dempsey. What's up, Dale?
Hola. Buenos dias.
Oh, very interesting.
I'm having a great day. I'm learning some other languages.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit today. So, but anyway, for those of you that are new to the show, welcome. We hope you enjoy the content. We hope it's very relevant to you, and you always take away something after listening. So we appreciate your time, and because of that, we try to make these things worthwhile. For those of you that are coming back, we appreciate your loyalty. We appreciate all the great feedback that we get, questions. We actually had some questions about the particular topic today that came up this week, since there was some pretty big news. And so we're going to get into that, and we're going to see where it goes. But for those of you that are paying attention to the big news in the financial service space, you'll have known that Wells Fargo decided to pull out of their international business. Not the first firm to do that, and certainly probably won't be the last, which is why Dale is brushing up on his Spanish. And so, I thought we'd want to just talk a little bit about that and some of the impact that might have on the business as a whole. And Dale, so I'm really just going to throw it out to you. You've been really probably talking to more advisors in different countries in 1 week than I've seen in a long time. So,
isn't that true? Wow.
Yeah. So what's the feedback? What's the
feedback?
What's the concern?
Yeah. I don't.
It's like I'm interviewing you.
Yeah. Right. Well, look, my first reaction is, the time zones are challenging. So if I'm talking to advisors in China, which I am, that can be a challenge. But then if you think about that from the firm's perspective, you have a language barrier, you have a time zone difference, you have different laws. I could see why firms would be hesitant to be in this, and then the stakes get higher, right? Because you have the risk, right? The anti-money laundering.
You dealt with that with one client in particular, didn't you?
So that's a good point. So we were talking about finding a firm where she could open accounts rather quickly, and where this goes that I don't think a lot of recruiters of firms think about, maybe deliberately or not, is whether or not the client has an international or domestic address. If they don't have a United States address, the game changes completely.
Right.
Let's say the game, but it's a completely different set of rules. And what we found is there are very few firms who will let you open an account without a domestic address. What that tells me, sort of going back to what you were saying, is long term, I really wonder who's actually going to be in this space.
Right.
You think about how many firms have global offices, who have counsel that crosses from continent to continent, and it's actually few and far between.
Right. And the other component of that, which makes it more challenging for advisors in that space, is it's not like you have the option to go independent, right? I mean, you can theoretically, but the challenge you have there, specifically with international clients, is brand recognition. Some of the safety issues that those clients have, even if you're with a Pershing or something like that, it's a brand recognition thing. And the field is definitely getting smaller with some of the firms that are willing to be in that business. And so it's this weird situation, because you can understand why firms are getting out,
mm-hmm.
right? But then the firms that are staying in and making a deliberate, conscious decision to stay in are going to be huge beneficiaries if things are done the right way, right?
Right.
Like,
right.
Anybody that needs to open an international account quickly, you probably want to pause on that one. Probably not the account you want to get opened up. Just saying, not that I've had experience with that, but
well, no, that was one of the questions that came up recently. Was okay. So if we don't have to have a domestic address, how quickly can we open the account? And it occurred to me within a few minutes. Wait a second. Either the advisor knows that they're laundering money, or is asking questions that the client would ask. Not saying I knew anybody was laundering money, but it just seemed pretty odd that you would want to avoid a social security number. You'd want to avoid a United States address. And I, from the custodial standpoint, That's going to be key. Are they taking on this risk? Are they, at the parent level, are they really going to take the risk on? I don't think so. I think
I think that's why. Look, I think there's a lot of things that I don't agree with what Wells does.
Yeah.
How they do certain things and how they approach the business. But in this instance, given what they've gone through, given some of the mandates that are put on them by the government, and just some of the crap that they've had to deal with, right? I don't want to say that there's no upside to having international business, but from Wells Fargo's point of view, it's the first time in a couple of years where I went, yeah, okay, I can see that.
Right.
That makes total sense.
Right. Not their core competency either.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Their Stagecoach, that's their logo is, it's continental travel. They're not going to do well.
It's difficult
across multiple. And here's the thing though, there are specific firms that are much smaller that specialize in this. Global family offices, I think we'll see a ton of business coming from this, right? Because a lot of advisors who have international business, a lot of them typically are very different than the advisors who are here domestically, and it's usually the stakes get raised. They're working with governments, right, and or really affluent clients.
Look, it's a more sophisticated practice. I think the other thing that goes into this, which is probably one of the reasons why you're seeing this dichotomy of sort of the big firms getting out and maybe some of the smaller firms, not like small, but Raymond James does a great job with international business. Oppenheimer does a great job with international business, right? Those smaller firms. And I think one of the reasons why they're still in it is because of their size, right? So when I was at Morgan Smith Barney, one of the things you run into is there are certain countries only allow a certain number of advisors, domestic advisors, to be in the country at any one time, right?
Why is that? It's
just these crazy rules that they are, and every country is different, right? So Venezuela is different than Mexico. It's like crazy. And so when you have a huge sales team, and if let's say you have a big international team, it's harder to keep track of all of that travel, right? And they can only be in the country for so long, and then they have to leave the country, and then they gotta be out for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And that becomes a challenge for large firms with large advisors, with a large number of advisors. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Right. Well, that's like with Morgan. Basically, what Morgan did years ago. This is not like some new thing, but Morgan did it, and they essentially anointed certain advisor teams as one international offices, right, and then certain teams international teams. And that means that so if you were say you were just a Dale Dempsey financial advisor, right, in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and you came across a client of yours that happened to have several $1 million, so you were a non-resident alien, right, but you had an account over in Mexico or whatever, you could not work with that client on your own, right, without having to go through an international office and an international team, right?
Mm-hmm.
They split the revenue with you because they're taking a lot of the risk.
Sure.
And because you're not going to be able to understand the rules and regulations of, well,
Right.
Why can't we just go meet the client? No, you can't go meet the client because you already spent 30 days in the country, right? So those kinds of things create real problems.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? If you're
That's a good question, actually.
well, these advisors have, it's really pursuing on depth and accuracy.
Right.
And I think a lot of the advantages are going to come from a self-clearing solution. Just because there's a unified front on how they're going to handle AML, streamline the business. Maybe I don't want it to be that way, but I think it'll probably consolidate towards that direction. And it's probably going to happen a little bit more rapidly.
From an advisor's point of view, what I would say where you go from here is you're either in the business or you're not in the business. Like, don't dabble. It's not worth the revenue that you're going to make, the headaches you have to deal with. From a practice management standpoint, you either are an international advisor or you're not. If your firm has a team like a Morgan Stanley, for instance, where they have international focus team, focus office, be happy to just split the business with them, right? Because it saves you a lot of headaches. Bring in the relationship, hand it off to a team that knows what they're doing. and move on, because I think you're going to get bogged down. It's sort of like clients that have athletes as advisors that have athletes as clients, right? A lot of that's ego driven. Like they want to say they have such and such athlete as a client, but at the end of the day, they're a pain in the ass. They don't want to pay a ton of money. They require a ton of work on your part. Look, we have one client of ours that has a very, very, very famous person. And how many times have we told this person, get rid of them?
Get rid of them.
Right? Like, get rid of him.
Well, yeah.
He's not worth the hassle. And you barely make any money on the guy.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I think that's the same kind of thing with international business. So, if you're out there and you're listening and you have some clients and you're pulling your hair out because your firm is pushing back on whatever it is, I would just tell you that, pay attention to what the firms are doing. They understand. They see the train that's coming down that track. It can be very difficult. There's a lot of AML issues, Patriot Act issues. There's all sorts of stuff that you can get caught up in, and there's a lot of wonkiness that goes out there with some of these I'll call them clients, investors, potential investors, trying to find angles, trying to find loopholes, basically they don't care about you. They just want to find a loophole to open up an account right away without a social security number or whatever, and launder money, and as a domestic financial advisor, you're left holding the bag, and it could cost you your license. So I would just tell you, I'll say, I don't know, kudos to Wells Fargo for making a decision on knowing who you are and knowing who you're not, right? So that goes for Wells Fargo, and that goes to you as a financial advisor. So anyway, with that said, we appreciate it. Dale, thank you for giving us some color on your conversations this week and a half or whatever with a lot of international advisors. Thanks for joining the show. We appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and iTunes. Smash the like button, or Dale says turn it gray or something.
Yeah.
Turn it gray. I guess it's a newfound new age term. Leave a comment and make suggestions. Shoot us an email. If you want to talk about what's going on in your space, give us a call. You can call me at 856-316-4651. And of course, always you can call Dale at 856-316-4653 and shoot him an email at dale@eliteconsultingpartners.com, and he can help you out. Thanks very much, and we'll talk to you next time.
Ciao. Great talk.
Good talk.
Thanks for watching Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out some of our other episodes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you back here next week.